Welcome to Mac's Corner, and I am glad to be back. It's just been a long and hectic week, but I'm ready to get back into my routine, and you can start seeing regular Let's Plays videos again. At least once a day is always my goal. And I got a real treat for you, I think, today. This probably is not going to be a long video, but I'm hoping it's going to be awesome. This is only a demo, but I think it is going to be something that you probably would not have known about if you hadn't visited Mac's Corner. That's kind of what I'm hoping. So, what this game's about, I want to kind of explain it a bit before I go walking around too much, but I don't want to talk at an empty screen. This is a very early alpha demo for a project that has got an amazing scope to it. I'll be honest, I don't think that, or I shouldn't say I don't think, I'm not sure that the developers have the skill and backing, but I don't know either. And I really hope they do, because there's obviously a ton of passion behind this project. And what you're looking at is a very beautiful recreation of the Titanic. And right now it's just a very small section of what is an immense ship. And it's going to be more than just a gallery view kind of thing. Right now it's just kind of it's pretty informative thing. And you can kind of read this as we go along and talk. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. If you're really interested in it, it's something that you can always pause and look at. But the video is not going to be, it's just not fun to sit there and read chat. I think we've been this way. So, what it is a passion project by really people who aren't necessarily developers, but have hired developers who just have a passion for the Titanic history. And me, I just have a passion for history in general. And while I don't want to call myself an expert on the Titanic, it is and has been an interesting, that's kind of neat. It's an interesting kind of tragedy and story about just an amazing kind of period in just industrial development. So not just about the Titanic, it's just about the entire story of just how getting the ship built and the technological marvel that it was, but also the difference between just the people at the top and the people at the bottom. In kind of, this was back before computers. It was man hours and hard work in tough industrial conditions that got a lot of this stuff done. So anyways, about Titanic, in case you don't know, you probably do, it was a ship that on its maiden voyage hit an iceberg and sank. It didn't have enough lifeboats as it was. But even then, when it was sinking, they didn't fill up the lifeboats. First-class passengers got priority on the lifeboats, and they were in frigid cold waters that you couldn't survive in for really more than a couple minutes. And the ship went down with about 1,500 people on board. Now, because I'm a history buff, I'm a student of history, it's hard to define, what makes this tragedy so, important, or so why it captures the imagination and hearts of people so much. It's just something intangible. I mean, for me, when I look at what I feel the greatest tragedy is, at least in terms of American history, and really I'm going to call it American history because that's my point of view of this, is the Civil War. Is the American Civil War, with the casualty rates, its impact on our culture, and definingly how, that's beautiful, in a way, and definingly because it is a problem that should have, by all means, been solved diplomatically, not through warfare, but it was good old American frickin' stubbornness that led it to being what it was. Oh, that's pretty clever. That's cool. That's kind of cool. So I don't think we can go all the way up there, but it gives you an idea, though, of the scale of the ship. I mean, This is supposed to be historically accurate. Like this is actually, we can't actually go here, but when the build is done, we're going to be able to go here, which is really cool. And what really sets this game apart, so let me start talking about the scope a little bit. Okay, so I guess we'll get to see kind of what at least some of the cabins look like. Is you are going to be on board the Titanic starting from when it launched, experiencing basically the town, which is going to be the scope is to recreate it to its historical, what it looked like back then. And honestly, I forget the town it left from, so I apologize, but I just don't remember, or city. But you're going to go from there, and you're going to sail with the Titanic all the way up till when it sinks, or shortly after it sinks. And you're going to have free roam of the ship. The concept is there is going to be a story. I don't know, like of a heist or something. I don't know how true it's going to be to the real world. Oh, the unsinkable Molly Brown. And as I said, that means if it's on here, this was where her cabin actually was, relative to the rest of the ship, which is pretty cool. You'll notice too, one neat little historical thing. You'll notice that even though that they were married, the two men and the women, right? I think I've got the names right. Yeah, I'll have to relook at that. I think so. Men and women, even if they were married, didn't bunk together because that would be improper back in that day. So, but what you do, I mean, you can choose to try and escape the ship. You can explore the ship as it's sinking, apparently. You can try and solve the mystery. There's, of the 2,500 people on board, they've got an amazing record about a huge number of them. And the goal is to recreate those characters as best as possible, which is crazy as it sounds. Is it really all that different than what you do in some of the Fallouts and stuff? I mean, I couldn't place exactly how many characters they have, but even if you're talking a couple hundred, like, interactable characters, I mean, they've got tons of historical information about them. They're going to have them be where they were, during the ship. Basically their locations will be realistic to the time on the ship, and their goal is to do that from when the ship launches to sinks, which is crazy. Let me see if I can find. I know there's more to this. Sorry, I do know there's more to this than what I've been kind of running around with. Just kind of been talking, and I'm going kind of slow too, just because this is something you want to take in and appreciate just the beauty of it. I mean, this is just gorgeous. All right, and obviously this is the first class luxury area of the ship, but I mean, dear Lord, I mean this is luxury. Okay. Well, I mean, if that's something you want to do, by all means, um, I support indie games once they get early access stuff out. I don't just go donate funds. That's just not what I do. But okay. Just look at that staircase. I mean, it's just the level of luxury is amazing. And keep in mind, this is just a ship. Alright, I know there's supposed to be more areas to explore. We are going to find them. There's not a ton, but I know there's a few. And this, I'm assuming, would be the main dining hall for the first class passengers. We go out here. Oh, okay. Have we been here yet? Wait, is this where we started? Alright, so there we go. Sherrisburg and Queenstown. Okay. So they boarded at the Titanic. Interesting. Alright, we are running around in circles now. If this gets too redundant, I will edit it, but I still got more to talk about. As I said, I just know there's a guy. I looked on the demo page and know there's at least 2 or 3 other areas to explore. Alright. Well, lower decks, right? Lower decks is supposed. Did we see all that? Because that's, I think the lower decks is where a lot of this stuff is. So that upstairs was D deck. This is E deck. Emergency door. Oh, we can go through that? Oh, interesting. Emergency door. because they didn't want first class first class passengers going to what was not the first class area of the ship. Now, it's funny. I mean, just look at the difference through one little door, and it's called the emergency door. I.e., don't go there unless. And we're going to go there in a second. I'm just kind of trying to get a feel. Okay, so that's where we went and looked up. Okay, and then here's where all the cabins and stuff are. Got it. I don't think there's anything else down here but the cabins. Let's just make sure. I mean, just look at how. I mean, and this is the luxury area, but to be fair, it is a cruise ship. But two people to a room kind of thing. Mayor room, the first class squash court. God, that's crazy, actually. So I'm assuming, I don't know what a squash court is. I'm assuming it's some sort of minor court to settle minor disputes on board the ship in international waters. Would be my thought. Alright, so let's go exploring this way, see what we find. Oh, what's down here? Let's go down here first. So it wasn't, okay, let's say we wanted to stay in our first class area. We wanted to maintain our luxury status here. F deck. Got it. So basically, this was as ugly as it got for first class passengers, I guess. Plunge bath and swimming pool. A watertight door is beyond us. Oh, we can go in there. Ooh. It's very. I mean, technically, can you sweat weight off? Yes, but it's like pointless. It's like dehydrating yourself to lose weight, and then when you hydrate yourself, you gain weight back. So whatever. Okay, what? So they have more facilities that way. Cooling room, I guess, after you'd sauna'd yourself. Oh, they would go in here and go through the sweating process, like the sauna. Please donate to our campaign. All right. Well, I don't mind them. In fact, it's a free demo, and it does look awesome. It makes sense for them to ask that. If they ever do put out an early access that's worthwhile, I'll definitely give it a try. All right. So that was pretty cool. What's this over here? Okay, so, and before maybe you've kind of said, oh, let's go to this last thing. So the idea is to take this whole ship, and as I've talked about, so I don't want to repeat myself too much, and to go through like the 2.5 hour sinking process as well, which is freaking crazy. Like, that's nuts. To take just such a dramatic event and essentially relive it and the tragedy of it as it's happening. I don't know what makes that different than a regular warfighting game, but something does. Something intangible makes it substantially different. I guess when you're in a warfighting environment, you kind of understand what you're getting yourselves into, for lack of a better word, and all that. And you kind of at least plan for the chaos as best you can mentally. But when you're on a luxury liner, you're not. And the crazy part is, and on their website, there's a really awesome, or you can probably look it up on YouTube, 2 hour and 40-minute video that is a video of the Titanic sinking in real time. I didn't sit there and watch it for the whole 2 hours and 40 minutes. That would have been, I wasn't going to do that, but I did, go through and watch it for a bit, forward it for a bit. And I always knew it was a slow process, but I didn't realize just almost how kind of subtle it was. And if you look at some of the historical records, a lot of the passengers didn't realize the trouble the ship was in until well into it, and then they still had about an hour to contemplate like what was going on before it happened. So as opposed to like an immediate kind of abrupt tragedy that you kind of deal with immediately and it's over and done, that was a very slow, almost peaceful tragedy in a weird way until the very end, which is crazy. Apparently, the Titanic movie, apparently did take a lot of luxuries on. All right, here we go. This is the last room I knew was in here. groups would die in a sage rush. All right. Well, as you can see, is what it is. So this was the third class area of the ship. The thing is, still pretty darn nice. It wasn't like they were slumming it down here, considering the size of the ship. It's not nearly as nice as obviously the first class section, but I wouldn't call it complete garbage. Hell of a lot nicer than some of the dining halls I've been in while I was in the military. We'll put it that way. All right. So that's pretty much it. I do encourage you to at least check out that sinking video. It's not even necessarily you're going to learn anything you possibly didn't already know if you know Titanic's history, but you're going to, I think, develop an appreciation for two things. One, just kind of how a peacefully desperate event it was, for lack of a better way to describe it. And two, they've got the plan for the ship sinking, and they've got the model down and everything else. They just need to, do what we've done here for the rest of the ship, which just modeling the ship in and of itself is a pretty big deal. And then if they can do what they want with adding the passengers and all that stuff, I think this could be pretty amazing. And with that, I think we've seen about everything of the ship we can see. As I said, I apologize. I didn't spend a lot of time reading this stuff. Not because I'm not interested, because I actually really am kind of interested. But I don't want to hold up a Let's Play video looking at all that stuff. And there is a way to turn those icons off too, if you want to explore without them. And once again, I still can't get over this emergency door. And the reason I can't is, there's real quick, because I have read some of this stuff, and I'll briefly describe it. This is the main walkway for third-class passengers. This is not an emergency deck for the third class. And this is where, a lot of the, the stewards stayed and stuff. So, it gives you a whole, there's the concept of the time. Emergency, go this way if you dare, if you're a first-class passenger. Oh my god. Alright, so let's try I'm going to close this out with one nice little last view of this. Oh, is there a port we... Oh, speak of the devil. Alright. There's a piano. Just look at the piano. My word. One of 6 on the Titanic? Jeez. It's one of those photographs. I wonder if those are going to have some significance later. Man, that's pretty cool. So, I don't know how significant it is, but they've obviously got, something on the outside done. Or they wouldn't at least have that. So I'm going to go close it out. Ooh, just make sure I can't go through this door. I don't think I can, because I'm pretty sure I visited every room that they said was available on their website. If you are interested in, as I was saying before, reading this or seeing it in more detail, you can go to their website. The demo's free. It's a bit, I wouldn't say it's an easy install, but it's not overly complicated either. Just make sure you read the README file. That's pretty cool. As you can see, everything, these are not, as I said, it's not just about the Titanic too. It's just about the culture of the day. That's when the world really kind of was. First steps in globalization happened in the early 1900s, And close out, back on the grand staircase, and out here. And with this wonderful and marvelous view, I'm going to call it an end. I hope you enjoyed. For nothing else, I hope I introduced you to a game that you wouldn't otherwise know about, and you at least keep an eye on. Because, as I said, if they can meet the scope of what they're trying to do, I think this is going to be really awesome. But, we'll find out, and as a history buff, for me personally, this is a really amazing thing for me to be able to just walk through the Titanic like this. But without further ado, appreciate everything, and Mac out.